Hi, everybody. I'm Gary Abernathy. Welcome to another episode of Balls and Strikes, brought to you by Americans for Good Government. As always, I'll be joined today by former Colorado Congressman Ken Buck. We're going to be talking today about everything from bills to billionaires, from fraud to a California mayor who pled guilty to spying for China, believe it or not. Well, let's switch gears and talk about something to me a little more lighthearted because it's good for a laugh, but it's also serious because it represents a strain of thinking that a lot of people unfortunately share. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, the Congresswoman from New York, to me is always good for a chuckle. But again, it can be a serious matter. This week's highlight from AOC was when she said, widely reported, "You cannot earn $1 billion." Let me read her quote. She said, "You can't earn $1 billion. You can get market power. You can break rules. You can do all sorts of things," end quote. But according to her, it's impossible to earn $1 billion. And while that's hilarious to me, it's also reflective of, frankly, the socialist mindset that there's a limit to how successful anyone could be, how much money someone could earn. Ken, what was your reaction to AOC's comment?
Well, I agree with you. At first, it was a chuckle. I don't know that it was a belly laugh, but it was certainly a chuckle. And then it sort of moved into what is wrong with people. I know more than one billionaire who is supporting AOC. AOC is saying the only way you could make $1 billion is if you're corrupt. And then billionaires are supporting AOC. Folks, we've got to take this seriously because when the other side says to us, this is what we're going to do, we should listen. And AOC is saying, and it's different than what Bernie Sanders is saying. Senator Sanders is saying, it is immoral to be a billionaire. It's immoral to make that much money and not give it away. AOC is saying the only way to make that much money is if you're a crook, if you're corrupt. And it's just not true. Billionaires, for the most part, are people who worked extremely hard, people who have built a business, and that business was successful because people like you and me bought the product. It helped our lives. It made our lives better, improved our quality of life. And as a result, they made money. That's what we need more of in this country. We need more innovators. We need more people who work hard and make our lives better.
And there's a lot of people out there who may say, most of us will never be a billionaire. I hope I am someday. I'd still like to think that's possible. I probably won't become a billionaire. But you know what? I want to be as successful as I can become. I want to make as much money as I can legally make for myself, for my family, for the things I want to support, and so on. And this is what people need to remember, to me, Ken, is that while she's picking on billionaires, what she's really saying is that there should be a limit to how much someone can make, because we should have a socialist society that kind of spreads the wealth equally to everyone, no matter whether they've earned it or not. And so is that $50,000? Is that $100,000? Is that $1 million? Is it $1 billion? It reflects a mindset that says someone else will decide when you've earned enough, and then we'll start taking it from you. That's scary to me.
The AOCs of the world want to tax the rich, and then somehow all that money ends up being going to the benefit of those people who believed in socialism. Socialism's nonsense. It hasn't worked anywhere. It never will work anywhere because it disincentivizes hard work. But the people who are advocating for it end up with the money in the long run. And that's something we've got to be awful careful of.
Even Paul Graham, who's the co-founder of Y Combinator, no conservative, he responded and said, quote, "Sure, you can earn $1 billion. I've been teaching people how to do it for 20 years. The way you do it is to start a company that grows fast. You don't have to do anything bad to make a company grow fast." So even a lot of her, people who are often aligned with her politically were kind of taken aback by that comment.
Yeah, it isn't worth much more of our time, but it is worth our time. Just to say, be careful, Americans, because the more folks who believe in this socialism, the more the bigger the threat is going to be to the rest of us.
Well, what's frightening to me is that this is actually a spreading thought across the country. Candidates at various levels, mayoral levels, local levels, who are basically socialist and openly socialist now, are winning elections. And we all need, on the capitalist pro-democracy side, to do a better job of educating people, because certainly our institutions of higher learning are dropping the ball somewhere for people to be buying into this.
We have a short memory, Gary, and that's unfortunate, because the reality is that those of us who lived through the fall of the USSR, the Soviet Union, remember how bad it was for the people there who were living under socialism, and how it didn't work, and how corrupt the system was. And those folks who were born after that time frame and who didn't learn about it, or at least didn't experience it on their TV sets on a daily basis, or travel to Russia, those are the folks who are now thinking that socialism isn't so bad. And that's a problem. You're absolutely right. The education system has not done a good job of letting people know that capitalism has brought more people out of poverty than any system in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. Great point, Ken. There's a lot going on in the world, but the most important focus for Americans for good government is getting the debt under control, and getting government spending on the same kind of logical track that households have to do in their everyday budgeting decisions. Ken, remind people how they can get involved if they share that point of view.
Well, one of the ways they can follow us is going to americansforgoodgovernment.org, but also just getting involved in local communities. I hope people go to school board meetings and town council meetings, and just get ready to ask a question. But for the best information about waste, fraud, and abuse, best information about the rise of socialism and the threat that it really is for this country, we've got that on americansforgoodgovernment.org, and I hope people sign up. So thank you for being involved. Thank you for caring about America, and look forward to seeing you on our next podcast.